Now, I want to go to James in Japan. James in Japan, give us the report on what you're seeing, sir.
Yeah, hi, Alex. How are you?
Good, good. Go ahead.
Well, it was a pretty devastating earthquake. I'm located in Tokyo, and even before the earthquake happened, this kind of comes back to what you're saying about some magnetic field or whatever. You felt something was wrong. I mean, there were no clouds in the sky, and it started to rain, and I've never seen that before, and it just got extremely hot. And then all of a sudden, luckily I was in the park with my son. It was his birthday today. And I personally felt like I was having a convulsion. And I asked him, I said, either I'm having a convulsion or the earth is like moving very, very hard. He says, Dad, I think we're going to die. And people in the park were running, and there's like pretty much nowhere that they could run to. And it's a safe place, the park. I mean, it's away from buildings. But they have about a 1940 locomotive in the park, and I took my son into that locomotive, and it's solid steel.
Well, James, thank you for stay there. No, don't thank me for having you on the show. Thank you for calling. Stay there. We're going to go to break. Tell us more about what you saw unfold. We'll take other calls from Japan. 800-259-9231. 800-259-9231. Stay with us. We're talking to James in Japan. Got David waiting. Here's Richard Corbin, weatheraction.com. He's a meteorologist, astrophysicist, consultant, owner of businesses, Weather Action, which even the mainstream media has had to admit, because he's on record, predicted with over 90% certainty exactly what's going to happen with the weather a year out. Nobody else can do that because the main meteorologists don't follow the moon. The moon controls the oceans. It controls a lot of tectonic activity. It controls how much solar winds are hitting the Earth as a shield when it's between the Earth and the sun. It's a space wind tunnel out there. He's coming up to get into what could be triggering this. But let's talk to James in Japan. So, James, where are you in Japan? What did you witness? You and your son had to escape to the park, to the high ground. What happened?
Yeah, well, we were in the park when it happened, so we escaped into an old locomotive they keep in the park for kids to see. And so we were pretty safe, fortunately. But what made this earthquake so different than others, which Japan has hit quite a bit by earthquakes, besides the intensity, was the length of it. I mean, this must have lasted about 1.5 to 2 minutes. It was long, and you just basically felt like it was over. You're going to die.
Well, it was an 8.9, and we're showing video right now of houses, buildings, like Tinker Toys, just being pushed by the giant tsunami, explosions. And I've got some bad news. I want you to continue, James, and go to David. Pressure is rising at the damaged Japanese nuclear power plant, raising fears. It could melt down. How close are you to this particular nuclear reactor in this area of northeast of Tokyo?
Well, that nuclear plant, that's maybe a few hundred miles away. But the bad news about it is the Japanese government, unfortunately, like the American government, never tells the truth all the time. When there was previously a nuclear leak, they never told you about it. And other leaks came out that they never told you about, even though employees were radiated and killed.
So it could be worse than we're even being told.
Absolutely, if you judge on what the government, how they lied.
I'm going to be honest. I don't like giant nuclear facilities. They're too dangerous. And meanwhile, the environmentalists want them instead of coal. And coal is just fabulous. And now I've seen the greenies on TV, on C-SPAN, saying, go nuclear, get rid of our plants. And they're building nuke reactors everywhere. And there's only a matter of time till we're all Chernobyl. Are you and your family concerned right now? They're saying this plant could go China syndrome and blow sky high.
I'm absolutely concerned. And what makes it even more devastating for people is there's been no phone service all day, so it's if you have like if you weren't able to get home due to the fact that the trains have stopped in Tokyo, you can't even contact your family members to see if they're okay. I own a house, actually, 2 hours north, which is oceanfront, and I can't even find out if my house was swept away by a tsunami.
And for ignorant people that don't know, your regular phone service is out. You're calling us via computer phone?
Yeah, I'm calling via Skype, Alex.
Yeah, that's what we thought. People find contradictions when there are none. Well, sir, again, where are you on the map? And we'll put the name in and pull it up for people watching on prisonplanet.tv. What's the name of the town you're in?
Well, I'm in an area called Nakameguro in Meguro Ward in Tokyo.
So you're in Tokyo, and how bad has Tokyo itself been hit?
Well, there's been, for example, there are water pipes that have burst in my building, and elevators don't work in any buildings. I had to run up 9 flights of stairs to make sure my ex-wife and other son was okay. There are people who, there's a convenience store in every block, and those are all full with people trying to get items like water and food. So, you know, when somebody like you comes out and tells people, you know, in the event of a dollar collapse or whatever, that you should really try and stock up on food, I hope people take you seriously, because you'll never know when you'll need it. And thanks to you, I pretty much have stocked up, so we were okay.
Well, thank God, sir. Look, I'm stocked up on food, ammo, guns, and it's not that I live in fear. It's that I live empowered, and I don't want to live in fear. I would be afraid in my home at night if I didn't have firearms. I mean, I can't imagine the domesticated, timid souls. David, we're going to go to you real fast on the other side, because it's live from Japan. We're going to go ahead and get this top meteorologist, Piers Richard Corbin, on as well at the same time with you. We're going to try to look at what could be triggering the massive increased tectonic activity the last 2 years. There's a lot more earthquakes happening, folks. We'll be right back. Visit Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. When you're on the site, you can also tune in 24 hours a day to my daily radio broadcast. There's also a free iPhone app to listen to the syndicated radio show when and where you want.